At the edge of Tunisia's southern desert, where the land turns pale and the sun seems to press down from every direction, there is a place that looks almost unreal. From above, Matmata does not appear to be a city at all. There are no towers, no crowded streets, no rows of bright rooftops stretching across the horizon. Instead, the ground opens into giant circular pits, and inside those pits, hidden from the world, are doorways, rooms, courtyards, and homes. This is a cave city, but not the kind carved deep into mountains like a fantasy world. In Matmata, life happens below the surface, in homes dug into the earth itself. For centuries, families here have lived in these underground spaces to survive one of the harshest climates on Earth. And when you hear that they live in caves, you might imagine something primitive or temporary. But Matmata is neither. These are carefully built, highly practical homes designed by people who understood the desert better than anyone else. They built to stay cool in the summer, warm in the winter, protected from sandstorms, and hidden from invaders. Every curve in the earth tells a story of survival, adaptation, and quiet genius. What makes Matmata even more fascinating is that this is not a forgotten relic sealed in the past. People still live here. Children still run through the courtyards. Families still cook, clean, and gather in the rooms dug into the soil. Visitors come from all over the world to see the famous troglodyte homes. But for the people of Matmata, this is not a museum. This is life. And once you understand how life works inside these desert cave homes, you begin to see Matmata differently. Not as a strange place on a map, but as a living example of how human beings can build a home from the land itself and make it beautiful. To understand Matmata, you have to begin with the land. Southern Tunisia is dry, hot, and demanding. In summer, the temperature can become brutally high, while nights can cool down sharply. Rain is scarce. The soil is often soft enough to carve, but firm enough to hold shape. And for generations, the people here discovered that if you build on top of the desert fights you. But if you build into it, the desert can protect you. That is the basic secret of Matmata homes. Instead of constructing houses outward, families excavated large round pits, some several meters deep and wide. Around the sides of these pits, they carved out cave rooms. The central pit became a kind of open-air courtyard below ground level, and the rooms opening into it served different purposes: sleeping quarters, kitchens, storage areas, and living spaces. Often, a tunnel or passage would connect different parts of the home or lead to another pit. The result was a self-contained world beneath the surface. It sounds dramatic, but to the people who built them, it was practical. In the heat of the day, when the desert becomes almost unbearable, the underground temperature remains much cooler. In winter, those same earth walls hold warmth better than thin above-ground structures. The cave design is energy efficient long before anyone used that term. It works because it is shaped by the environment rather than against it. A visitor arriving in Matmata for the first time often sees only the top layer of life. A simple metal door in the ground, a narrow path, a whitewashed edge around a pit, maybe a rope rail, maybe a few steps cut into the earth. Then suddenly the land opens, and there is a whole hidden home below. The courtyard may be circular or oval, with sunlight pouring down from above, and around the perimeter are doors leading into rooms cut into the soft rock and clay. The walls may be plain, but the space feels deeply human. Some homes have rugs, cushions, family photos, cooking pots, and the little details that turn a shelter into a home. If you spend time with the families who live here, you begin to notice how quickly the cave house becomes ordinary to them and extraordinary to everyone else. A mother might call her children from one room to another, her voice carrying softly through the pit. An older man may sit at the edge of the courtyard with tea in a small glass, watching the day unfold with the patience of someone who has seen the same light for decades. A grandmother may know exactly which room stays coolest at noon and which corner is best for storing bread, spices, or jars of olives. The home is not abstract. It is a system of lived knowledge. The story of Matmata is also a story of identity. The region is associated with Amazigh, or Berber, heritage. These are indigenous North African communities with long histories of adapting to the varied landscapes of the Maghreb. The cave homes are part of that heritage, built over generations in response to both climate and security. In earlier centuries, Living underground also offered protection from raiders and conflict. If the outside world was dangerous, the earth itself became a shield. That sense of protection is not just physical, it is emotional too. Many residents talk about the homes with a kind of pride that is hard to miss. The cave house is not merely a place to sleep. It is a family structure, a memory structure, a way of life inherited from parents and grandparents. A child grows up with the sound of footsteps echoing softly in the pit, with sunlight falling vertically into the courtyard, with the coolness of earth on one side and the harsh desert outside on the other. This becomes normal. This becomes home. In some families, the cave house is tied to stories told over and over again. A father might remember how his own father helped dig a room by hand, carrying buckets of soil out of the pit little by little. A mother might recall the first time she learned to bake bread in the cave kitchen and how the smell filled the whole underground space. A child might think of the courtyard as the center of the universe because everything important seems to happen there. Greetings, meals, quarrels, laughter, washing, prayer, and rest. In that way, Matmata is not just architecture. It is the container of family memory. But of course, life in Matmata is not a romantic fantasy. It is challenging. Maintaining a cave home requires work. The walls can erode. Rain, though rare, can bring damage when it does arrive. Dust collects. Moisture must be managed. Electricity, plumbing, and modern conveniences may be present in some homes, but not always in the same way as in a city apartment. Some families have adapted their cave houses to fit modern needs, while others preserve traditional layouts with only modest updates. It is a balance between continuity and change. That balance can be felt in the small practical choices people make every day. A satellite dish may sit above a pit that was carved generations ago. A plastic water container might be placed next to a clay pot. A mobile phone may rest beside a woven mat. A solar panel may help power a lamp in a room that still carries the marks of hand-dug earth. These contrasts do not feel strange to the people who live here. They are simply part of how Matmata has moved through time without losing its shape. And then there is the daily rhythm of desert life. In the morning, before the heat becomes intense, people may sweep the courtyard, prepare tea, and take care of chores. In the quiet underground rooms, light enters in a dramatic way from the open sky above, creating a natural contrast between shadow and brightness. The cave architecture means the home is often peaceful. Sounds are softened by earth walls. Conversations echo differently. A kettle boiling, a child laughing, a radio playing in a back room all seem to blend into the house itself. Morning often begins with movement toward the surface. Someone climbs the steps out of the pit to check the weather, collect something from outside, or greet a neighbor in the lane above. Then they return to the cool interior with that sense of relief that only people who know desert heat can fully understand. A cup of mint tea tastes different when you drink it in the shade of the earth after a bright morning outside. Even the stillness has texture here. The air feels denser, calmer, and more forgiving than the sunlit world above. Cooking in a Matmata home is another experience shaped by the environment. Traditional Tunisian meals may include bread, olives, vegetables, stews, couscous, and dishes seasoned with local spices. In some homes, food is prepared over simple stoves or in small kitchen areas carved into the cave. The cool interior makes long hours near the kitchen more bearable than they would be above ground under the blazing desert sun. Meals are shared in family spaces, often with neighbors and visitors appearing unexpectedly. Hospitality is a strong part of life here. If you are welcomed into a Matmata home, you are not just seeing architecture. You are entering someone's family rhythm. That hospitality is often expressed in small gestures that stay with visitors. A glass of sweet tea offered without hesitation. Fresh bread broken by hand and passed around the room. A seat arranged in the best shade. A smile that suggests the family is glad you came, even if your visit interrupts an otherwise ordinary day. In desert culture, hospitality is not decoration. It is an essential social language. And in Matmata, where life has always depended on mutual support, that language runs deep. The cave rooms themselves can reveal a lot about daily life. One room may be used for sleeping, with thick blankets folded neatly during the day. Another may store grains, oil, tools, or clothing. A small alcove might hold cooking utensils or family keepsakes. Some homes include a room reserved for guests, a sign of how seriously hospitality is taken. The arrangement may seem simple to an outsider, but it is often organized with careful logic. The family knows exactly where things belong, what stays cool, what must remain dry, and where privacy can be preserved in a shared space. That privacy is one of the quiet strengths of Matmata homes. Because the courtyard is below ground level, and because rooms open inward, the house can feel open to its own family while remaining hidden from the wider world. Children can play in the pit without being on display. Women can move between rooms and prepare meals without the exposure of a street-facing house. The architecture offers both closeness and enclosure, a rare combination that suits a community built around family life. Tourism brought this hidden world to global attention, especially after Matmata became known as a filming location for Star Wars. The area was famously used in the making of the films, and that connection transformed it into a destination for fans and curious travelers from around the world. Suddenly, the desert cave homes were not only local houses, but cinematic landmarks. People who had never heard of Matmata before began searching for it because they wanted to see the real place behind the movie world. For the residents, this brought both opportunity and complication. Tourism can provide income. Visitors buy local crafts, hire guides, stay in guest houses, and contribute to the regional economy. But it also changes the atmosphere. A home that once belonged only to a family becomes a point of public interest. People take photos, ask questions, and sometimes come expecting spectacle instead of respect. The tension between preservation and tourism is part of the modern Matmata story. Some families have opened parts of their homes to guests, explaining the design, showing the rooms, and sharing tea with visitors. For them, this is a way to earn money and keep the tradition visible. Others prefer to keep their homes private, worrying that too much attention can make daily life feel exposed. Both responses make sense. A place that is deeply personal can never become public without some cost. Still, for many travelers, the experience is unforgettable because it is so unlike ordinary tourism. You are not simply looking at a historical building. You are entering a living house system that grew out of necessity and survived because it works. The home itself tells you everything. How people responded to climate, how they organized space, how they protected children, how they preserved privacy while living in a shared pit, how they made a harsh environment feel livable. One of the most interesting things about Matmata is how intimate the architecture feels. In many cities, homes are separated by walls, fences, streets, and floors. In Matmata, the home begins with a descent. You go down into the earth, and that movement changes your sense of place. It feels like leaving the exposed world and entering a private one. Yet the courtyard is open to the sky, so the house is both enclosed and open, sheltered and connected. It is a design that captures the essence of desert living. Protection without complete isolation. That descent matters psychologically too. When you step down into a Matmata home, you feel the temperature shift, the sound change, and the light narrow into a vertical column above you. The world outside becomes distant in an instant. This creates a powerful sense of retreat, as if the house is gently pulling you away from the intensity of the desert. And yet, because the sky is still visible, the place never feels cut off from nature. It is hidden, but not sealed. There is also a remarkable sense of ingenuity in the construction. These homes were not created with modern machinery in most cases. They were shaped by hand, using simple tools, patient labor, and local knowledge. The size and depth of the pit, the placement of rooms, the slope of the entryway, the choice of materials, all of it reflects generations of trial, error, and inherited wisdom. A cave home is not just dug once. It is maintained over time, repaired, refined, and adapted as family needs change. The digging itself was an act of endurance. Soil had to be removed carefully, carried away, and shaped so that the walls would remain stable. Rooms had to be cut with enough height for people to move comfortably, but not so wide that the structure would weaken. Over time, families learned which soils held best, where water might gather, and how to reinforce vulnerable areas. What survives today is not accidental. It is the result of practical intelligence accumulated over centuries. Some homes are larger and more elaborate, while others are smaller and more modest. A family with several generations may use one pit as the main household and another for storage or animals. In some cases, multiple pits are connected, creating a network of underground spaces. This kind of architecture can be surprisingly flexible. It grows with the family and the land. That flexibility matters because family life is not static. A young couple may begin in one section, then expand as children arrive. A room that once held grain may become a sleeping room. A corner that stored tools may become a place for school books or a television. The cave home evolves with time, which is one reason it has lasted so long. It is not a fixed relic. It is a living framework. And then there is the climate advantage, which deserves more attention because it is one of the reasons Matmata remains so compelling today. Modern architects and environmental designers increasingly look to traditional building methods for inspiration. Why? Because Matmata homes are naturally climate adaptive. The earth acts as insulation. The pit courtyard creates airflow. The thick walls reduce heat transfer. In an era when many buildings rely heavily on air conditioning, Matmata offers a reminder that sustainable design is not always new. Sometimes it is ancient knowledge rediscovered. The desert here teaches a harsh lesson. Comfort is not always about conquering the environment. Sometimes comfort comes from listening to it. The people of Matmata understood that the sun, wind, soil, and temperature were not enemies to defeat, but realities to work with. By building underground, they created homes that cooperate with nature instead of fighting it. That idea feels especially relevant now, as the world searches for better ways to live in extreme climates. But the people of Matmata are not frozen in time. They live in the present. Some have televisions, mobile phones, cars, and internet access. Children may attend school, travel for work, or leave for cities and return later. Like many traditional communities, Matmata faces migration, economic pressure, and changing expectations. Younger generations may not always want to maintain the same lifestyle as their parents. Some move toward above-ground housing or combine traditional and modern living in the same household. This creates a delicate conversation about heritage. What should be preserved? What should be changed? What does progress mean when the older way still has so much value? The answer is not simple. A cave home can be deeply beautiful, but it also requires commitment. Some parts of the region have shifted toward ghost houses and heritage displays because tourism provides income. Other homes remain private and less visible. In either case, the people of Matmata are making decisions constantly, balancing identity, practicality, and opportunity. For some families, this means keeping one foot in the old world and one in the new. They may build a more modern room above ground for certain needs while keeping the underground rooms active for sleeping, storage, or social gatherings. Others maintain the cave house almost entirely as it has always been. These choices are personal, and they reflect the fact that tradition is not a single path. It is a series of negotiations across generations. If you imagine sitting in one of these homes in the late afternoon, the light slowly changing in the courtyard above, you can almost feel how the place organizes time. Morning light is sharp. Midday light is intense. Evening light softens the pit walls and turns the earth a warmer color. At night, the open sky overhead reveals stars in a way that feels almost impossible in a modern city. The desert silence is deep. In that quiet, the home becomes a small world of its own. There may be moments when you can hear almost nothing except a breeze moving across the opening, a distant animal, or the faint sounds of a family preparing dinner inside the rooms. The silence is not empty. It is full of presence. It makes small sounds meaningful. A spoon against a pot, a call from one room to another, the rustle of fabric, the footsteps of a child climbing the steps out of the pit and back in again. In Matmata, sound belongs to the earth differently. And perhaps that is the most powerful thing about Matmata. It challenges the idea that comfort must be loud, modern, and visible. It shows that a home can be hidden beneath the earth and still be full of life. It shows that architecture can emerge from need and become culture. It shows that what outsiders might call a cave can, in fact, be a thoughtful, resilient, and elegant response to place. There is also a human tenderness in the way families occupy these spaces. A courtyard might have laundry hanging near one side, a child's bicycle propped against a wall, a few goats or chickens nearby, cooking smoke rising gently from a small opening, and an elderly relative sitting in the shade, watching the activity with quiet familiarity. The scene is ordinary, but the setting makes it extraordinary. The cave home does not erase daily life. It frames it. On certain days, the pit can feel almost festive. Neighbors may stop by unexpectedly. Someone may bring bread or fruit. Children may gather around a visitor out of curiosity, then run off laughing when they have asked their questions. A person from the house may climb the steps to check on a relative nearby, returning later with news or supplies. The whole place is stitched together by movement, exchange, and familiarity. Even when life is simple, it is rarely isolated. In many parts of the world, people are separated from the land by concrete, steel, and glass. In Matmata, the land is not separate from the house. It is the house. The earth is not just beneath the floor. It is the floor, the wall, the roof, and the climate control system all at once. That intimacy with the ground creates a very different relationship between people and place. For travelers who come hoping to understand Tunisia beyond beaches and resorts, Matmata offers something deeper. It offers history without glass cases, culture without choreography, and living memory embedded in architecture. It reminds you that the world is full of communities whose solutions to everyday life are breathtakingly original because they were shaped by the realities they faced. And maybe that is why Matmata stays with people long after they leave. They remember the descent into the earth. They remember the sudden coolness. They remember the echo of voices in the pit. They remember meeting a family who welcomed them into a room cut out of the desert itself. They remember that the most extraordinary homes are sometimes the ones hidden from view. In the end, life inside the desert cave city in Tunisia's Matmata homes is a story of survival, ingenuity, and continuity. It is a story about people who learned to work with the land instead of against it. It is a story about families who turned earth into shelter and shelter into heritage. And it is a story that continues today, not as a relic, but as a living example of human adaptation. If this journey into Matmata fascinated you, take a moment to reflect on what home really means. Is it walls and roofs alone? Or is it the way a place holds memory, climate, family, and identity together? Matmata gives one powerful answer. If you enjoyed this story, like the video, subscribe for more hidden places and human stories from around the world, and tell me in the comments what place you'd like to explore next.